I'm sitting in my office, staring at an email I just sent, and I can practically feel the evil grin spreading across my face, because I know that right now, on the other side of the building, there's a certain toxic coworker furiously typing words into Google, trying to figure out what the hell irreverent means. And the best part? She has no idea I've been doing this on purpose for months. Yeah, buckle up because this one is deliciously petty. My name is Sarah, and at the time this all went down, I was a supervisor at a mid-sized company in the Midwest. Think corporate office vibes, cubicles, fluorescent lights, endless meetings, and that one person who makes everyone dread coming to work. That person was Jenna. God, where do I even start with Jenna? From day one, she was a walking interpersonal disaster. She had this way of twisting every conversation, every interaction, into drama. If someone asked her to cover a shift, offense taken. If someone got praise in a meeting she didn't, suddenly she was the victim. We lost 3 really good employees in 1 year alone because they straight up told HR they couldn't handle working with her anymore. And management? They were terrified of her. She wasn't outright breaking rules enough to fire her. She was too smart for that. But she was a master at playing the victim and making everyone else look like the bad guy. I tried everything. Coaching sessions, one-on-ones, written warnings. Nothing stuck. She would cry, or get defensive, or claim everyone was ganging up on her. It was exhausting. Then came the day that changed everything. One of our team members, let's call him Mike, had said something completely innocuous during a shift change. I wasn't even there, but according to multiple witnesses, he just made a casual comment about scheduling. Nothing rude, nothing personal. But Jenna? She took it as a mortal insult. She stormed into my office the next day, demanding that she never have to cover Mike's shifts again. He disrespected me, she kept saying. I won't work with someone who treats me like that. My blood pressure was already through the roof, but I knew I had to handle this carefully. Burning bridges with Jenna never ended well for anyone, so I called in my director, Lisa. Lisa was amazing, calm, professional, no nonsense. We sat Jenna down and tried to explain why. Refusing to cover shifts would cause massive problems for the whole team. At one point, Lisa said gently, I understand you feel slighted by what happened. And Jenna interrupted her. Wait, what? Slighted? What does that mean? Lisa and I just blinked at each other. Slighted, Lisa repeated patiently. It means you feel insulted or offended by something small. Jenna stared at her like she'd just spoken ancient Greek. I had to bite the inside of my cheek so hard to keep from laughing. This woman was in her late 20s, had been through our company's professional development training, and she didn't know the word slighted. Lisa explained it kindly, and we moved on with the conversation. We eventually convinced Jenna to keep covering shifts. Barely. But as soon as she left the room, I turned to Lisa and whispered, Did that really just happen? Lisa just shook her head, half amused, half horrified. But me? Something clicked in my brain. Jenna prided herself on being professional and articulate. It seemed loved correcting people's grammar in group chats, rolling her eyes when someone used casual language. She acted like she was above everyone else, and she didn't know slighted? Oh, this was too perfect. I tucked that little nugget away in my mind like a sniper tucking away a bullet for later. Because if Jenna didn't know basic professional vocabulary, what else didn't she know? That night I went home and opened my laptop. I pulled up a thesaurus and started typing in ordinary words. Insulted became slighted. Disrespectful became irreverent. Misunderstood became misconstrued. I wasn't going full Shakespeare on her, nothing. That would get me called out for being unprofessional. Just elevating my language a tiny bit, using words that any high school graduate should know, but maybe someone who skimmed through English class might need to look up. The revenge began slowly. First email. I had to address some scheduling conflicts. Instead of writing, "This could cause confusion," I wrote, "This has the potential to be misconstrued." Sent. I waited. Nothing immediate, of course, but I could picture her reading it, frowning, maybe pulling out her phone under her desk. Next time we had a team meeting and I sent follow-up notes. Let's ensure we're all aligned to avoid any acrimony moving forward. Acrimony, perfectly professional word, means resentment or bitterness. I watched her face during the next meeting when she read the email on her laptop. Just a tiny flicker, a tightening around the eyes. She didn't say anything, but I knew. I knew. My friend and colleague, Amanda, noticed something was up. Amanda and Jenna used to be close. They started around the same time, But even she had pulled away once Jenna's true colors showed. One day over lunch, Amanda said, "Have you noticed Jenna seems extra annoyed lately?" I just smiled innocently. No idea what you're talking about. But inside, I was thriving. This wasn't about being cruel. This was about balance. This woman had made so many people miserable, driven good employees away, created constant stress and drama, and now she was the one feeling a little off balance. A little unsure? Perfect. I started getting creative when she submitted reports with careless errors. While I appreciate the effort, some of these figures appear to be erroneous. Erroneous, love that word. When she was late to meetings. Punctuality is paramount to maintaining professional decorum. Decorum, chef's kiss. I varied it up. Sometimes I'd use completely normal language for weeks, then drop a nefarious or insidious when describing process issues. Never enough to be called out. Never enough for HR, just enough to make her pause, to make her wonder, to make her feel just a fraction of the insecurity she inflicted on everyone else. And the best part? She couldn't complain. What was she going to say? Sarah uses too many big words. She'd sound ridiculous. I was playing chess while she was playing. Well, emotional whack-a-mole. Then came the day she handed me the perfect opening on a silver platter. Every day, our department sent out a safety email. Just quick notes from the morning meeting, reminders about procedures, that kind of thing. Usually written by whoever was facilitating that day. One morning, the usual person was out sick. Guess who volunteered to write the email? Jenna. I didn't think much of it until the email hit everyone's inbox. Subject line, daily safety notes, great job today. Normal enough. Then I opened it. The last line read, "Good job getting shit done today, team." I stared at my screen. She used the word shit in a company-wide professional email. In writing, permanent record, to everyone, including senior leadership. My jaw actually dropped. This woman who prided herself on professionalism, who corrected everyone's tone and language, who acted superior to everyone, just dropped casual profanity in an official communication. Oh, Jenna. You just made the biggest mistake. I didn't respond right away. I needed to craft this perfectly. I waited until the end of the day, then sent her a private email. Subject, Professional Communication Standards. Hi, Jenna. I wanted to address something from today's safety email. While I appreciate the positive sentiment, using profanity, even mild, in department-wide communications sets an irreverent tone and could potentially be misconstrued as unprofessional. Moving forward, let's keep our written communications aligned with company standards for professionalism. Thanks for understanding. Sarah. Sent. I leaned back in my chair and just smiled. Irreverent, misconstrued. 2 of my greatest hits in one email. I gave it about 30 minutes. Then my phone rang. It was Amanda. "You're never going to believe this," she said, barely containing laughter. "Jenna just called me absolutely losing her mind about your email." "Really?" I asked, all fake innocence. She went on and on about how you're singling her out, how other people have used casual language before, which they haven't, and how unfair it is. But Sarah, she was especially mad about the word misconstrued. I felt my heart start racing with pure joy. What did she say? Direct quote. "Who even says misconstrued? I don't even know what that means. She's just trying to make me look stupid." I couldn't help it. I burst out laughing. Amanda was quiet for a second, then, "Wait, did you do that on purpose? Maybe?" "Sarah, have you been doing this the whole time?" I couldn't stop grinning. Ever since the slighted incident. She's been driving me crazy for years. Amanda, years, and she didn't even know what slighted meant. Amanda started cracking up. "Oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever heard. You're an evil genius. Petty genius, maybe." We laughed about it for 20 minutes straight. Amanda told me Jenna had apparently been complaining to anyone who would listen about how I was targeting her with my fancy words. But here's the beautiful part. She couldn't do anything about it. Because every word I used was perfectly appropriate for a professional setting. I wasn't being rude. I wasn't being unprofessional. I was just using the English language at a level she apparently struggled with. The fallout was delicious. Jenna started being extra careful with her own emails, almost comically formal. She stopped correcting other people's language in group chats. She actually started arriving to meetings on time. And every time I had to send a department email, I'd make sure to include at least one perfect word. Let's avoid any pernicious misunderstandings. Maintaining decorum is essential. Your assiduous attention to detail is appreciated. Okay, maybe I got a little carried away with assiduous. But she Googled it. I know she did. The best part? Upper management noticed the improvement in team communication and gave me positive feedback on my professional tone in written correspondence. Jenna never figured out it was deliberate. Or if she did, she never said anything. She couldn't. What would she admit to? That she didn't understand common professional vocabulary? Eventually, she transferred to another department, supposedly for growth opportunities. But we all knew the truth. And me, I kept my thesaurus handy. Because sometimes the pettiest revenge isn't loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's just making someone feel a little bit smaller, a little bit less sure of themselves, using nothing but the very language they claim to value so highly. Sometimes revenge is spelled with a thesaurus. Whew. Did this one give you that satisfying chill? I want to go back for a minute, because I don't think I fully conveyed just how toxic Jenna really was. This wasn't just ordinary workplace friction. This was next level. Let me paint you a picture of a typical week with Jenna in the department. Monday morning, someone gets promoted or recognized in the weekly team email. Jenna spends the entire day making passive-aggressive comments about how some people get all the credit, while others do all the work. Never naming names, of course. Just enough to make the celebrated person feel bad. Tuesday, Jenna needs coverage for a shift because of a personal emergency. When no one volunteers immediately, she starts texting people individually with guilt trips. I guess no one cares about family anymore. Wednesday, Jenna submits her weekly report 3 days late. When I remind her about deadlines, she claims I never told her. I have emails proving otherwise, and starts crying in my office about how stressed she is, and how I'm always on her case. Thursday, someone makes an innocent joke in the break room. Jenna takes it personally and spends the afternoon telling anyone who will listen that she's being targeted and bullied at work. Friday, Jenna announces she's leaving early for a doctor's appointment, but is spotted at happy hour across the street by multiple coworkers. When confronted, that's none of your business. Stop stalking me. Repeat weekly. We lost Mike, the guy from the original slighting incident, because Jenna started a rumor that he was unreliable after he wouldn't cover one of her last-minute shift requests. Mike was one of our best employees, reliable, friendly, always willing to help. He put in his 2 weeks after Jenna went to our director claiming Mike had been insubordinate to her. He'd politely said no to working a 6th day in a row. Another employee, Rachel, straight up told HR during her exit interview that Jenna's behavior was the reason she was leaving for a competitor. Rachel had been with us for 5 years. 5 years. Gone because of one person's non-stop drama. I tried everything to fix it. I documented every incident. I had sit-downs with Jenna where I explained how her behavior affected the team. I offered resources, employee assistance program, conflict resolution training. Her response? Always the same. You're all against me. It's not my fault people are sensitive. I have anxiety and you don't understand. Never once taking responsibility. Never once apologizing. Just endless victimhood. So when that slighted moment happened, it wasn't just funny. It was poetic. Because Jenna positioned herself as this professional, articulate, superior person. She loved using corporate buzzwords. Synergy. Circle back. Bandwidth. The kind of jargon that makes everyone roll their eyes. But actual vocabulary? Words that required real reading comprehension? Apparently not her strong suit. And I realized something important. Jenna's power came from making other people feel small. From making them doubt themselves. From creating confusion and drama until everyone was walking on eggshells around her. So what if I turned that around? What if I made her doubt herself just a little? Not enough to cause real harm. Not enough to be actionable. Just enough to take her down a peg. Just enough for some balance in the universe. The vocabulary revenge became my secret joy. I'd be writing a perfectly ordinary email and think, how can I elevate this? Instead of please clarify, I'd write please elucidate. Instead of this is urgent, this matter requires expeditious attention. Instead of don't forget, please remain cognizant of. I kept a running list on my phone of words I'd used, just to avoid repetition. Cognizant, expeditious, elucidate, pernicious, insidious, egregious, fastidious, obstreperous. Okay, that one might have been pushing it. But always, always within professional bounds. And the signs that it was working? Priceless. Jenna started taking longer to respond to emails. sometimes hours when she used to fire back immediately. She started asking other coworkers what certain words meant. Casually, of course. Hey, what does fastidious mean again? She stopped correcting other people's language as frequently. She started using more formal language herself, sometimes incorrectly, which was honestly hilarious. One time she wrote in a group email, "I appreciate your assiduity on this project." Assiduity. She'd clearly looked up hard work or something. But she used it wrong. It was perfect. Amanda became my co-conspirator. We'd text each other whenever I sent a particularly good one. Me just used obfuscate in an email about clear communication. Amanda. She's definitely Googling right now. Me. Sent one with perspicuous. Amanda, evil, I love you. It became this secret game that kept me sane through all the ongoing Jenna drama. Because make no mistake, she was still creating problems, still taking offense at nothing, still making people's lives difficult. But now I had this tiny bit of power back, this tiny way to fight back without fighting. And then came the profanity email. I still can't believe she did that. We have executives on that distribution list, people from other departments, external partners sometimes, and she just casually drops shit like it's no big deal, like we're all buddies at a bar. The hypocrisy was staggering. This woman who would report someone for saying crap in a meeting used actual profanity in writing. I knew I had to address it, but I also knew I had the perfect opportunity. My response email took me 20 minutes to write. Every word chosen carefully, professional, firm, but with just enough elevation, irreverent tone. Potentially be misconstrued. Beautiful. Her meltdown was everything I'd hoped for and more. According to Amanda, Jenna spent hours complaining to anyone who would listen. She's never corrected anyone else. She had. Multiple times. I had documentation. She's just trying to make me look bad. Well, maybe a little. But who even uses words like that? Ah, there it was. The real issue. Not the profanity. Not the professionalism standards. The fact that I used words she didn't understand. The fact that for once she was the one feeling inadequate. Amanda told me Jenna actually printed out my email and brought it to her desk to dissect it with a dictionary. A physical dictionary. I wish I was making this up. When Amanda told me that, I had to leave my office and go sit in my car because I was laughing so hard I was crying. It was perfect. Absolutely perfect. The aftermath was beautiful. Jenna became almost comically professional in her communications. Her emails started looking like they were written by a corporate lawyer. Dear team, I hope this message finds you well. Please be advised that tomorrow's meeting has been rescheduled to 10 more m. Your punctual attendance would be most appreciated. Best regards, Jenna. We all noticed. People started joking about it in private chats. Someone's been studying the dictionary. Jenna's emails read like she's applying for a Supreme Court position. And me? I kept up my subtle campaign. Just enough to keep her on her toes. Just enough to remind her that words have power. Eventually, about 6 months later, Jenna announced she was transferring to another department. Excited for new challenges and growth opportunities? Sure, Jenna. We had a going-away lunch for her. She gave a speech about how much she'd miss everyone and how grateful she was for the experience. Multiple people told me later they had to stuff napkins in their mouths to keep from laughing. I gave her a card that said, "Best wishes on your new endeavor." Endeavor. She definitely Googled that one. After she left, something amazing happened. The department relaxed. People started laughing in meetings again. They stopped walking on eggshells. Productivity went up. Turnover went down. Multiple people told me privately how much better things were without Jenna's constant drama. And me? I kept my thesaurus, because you never know when you might need it. Sometimes the best revenge isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. It isn't even visible to most people. Sometimes it's just quiet satisfaction of knowing that the person who made everyone else feel small finally got to feel small themselves. Just a little. Just enough. And sometimes, that's everything. Whew. Did this one give you that satisfying chill? Let me tell you about the specific moment I knew I'd won. It was about 2 months into my vocabulary campaign. We were in a department meeting, the big monthly one with leadership present. I was giving updates on some process improvements. At one point I said we've noticed some discrepancies that could potentially obfuscate our reporting accuracy. Normal sentence. Professional context. But I saw it. I saw Jenna's face. She was taking notes on her laptop and her fingers just stopped. She stared at the screen for a solid 5 seconds, then very casually tilted her phone toward her lap. Typing. Definitely typing. I had to look down at my own notes to hide my smile. Later that day, Amanda texted me. Saw Jenna looking up obfuscate in the bathroom. She thought no one noticed. I laughed so hard I snorted coffee. These little moments became my secret fuel. Another time I sent an email about team collaboration. Let's avoid any schisms in our approach. Schism, great word, means division or split. Jenna replied, all within minutes. I agree. We should maintain unity. But her reply had 3 typos. She was rushing. She was flustered. She was feeling the pressure. And the beautiful irony, all of this was making her a better employee. Her written communication actually improved. She started double-checking her work more carefully. She became more punctual, probably because she didn't want any more emails about decorum. She stopped using casual language inappropriately. My petty revenge was accidentally making her more professional. The universe has a sense of humor. I want to be clear, this wasn't about bullying someone for having a smaller vocabulary. Jenna wasn't stupid. Far from it. She was actually quite intelligent in many ways. But she weaponized her perceived superiority against everyone around her. She made people feel stupid, or sensitive, or dramatic. For years, she created an environment where everyone second-guessed themselves. So when the tables turned, just a tiny bit, when she was the one second-guessing, it felt like justice. Not cruel justice. Petty justice. The kind that doesn't hurt anyone, but restores balance. The kind that makes you smile years later when you think about it. After Jenna left, I actually toned it down. I didn't need the thesaurus armor anymore. The department was healing. People were happy again, but I kept one tradition. Every time I onboarded a new supervisor or team lead, I'd tell them this story. Anonymously, of course. And I'd always end with the same advice. Words matter. Choose them carefully. Sometimes they're your best defense. And sometimes they're your sweetest revenge. Whew. Did this one give you that satisfying chill? Looking back, the slighted moment was truly the catalyst. That single interaction in my director's office changed everything. Because up until then, I'd been fighting Jenna's behavior head-on. Direct conversations, performance reviews, documentation, all the proper management techniques. But nothing worked. She was like emotional Teflon. Everything slid right off. And somehow I was the one who ended up looking like the bad guy. But that moment, when she stopped, the entire serious conversation to ask what slighted meant, it revealed her vulnerability. Not in a cruel way, but in a very human way. Her armor had a chink, and instead of attacking it directly, I found a way to gently exploit it. Not to destroy her, but to neutralize her, to take away just enough of her perceived superiority that she couldn't weaponize it against others as effectively, and it worked. Better than any performance improvement plan ever could. There's something deeply satisfying about winning with intelligence, with subtlety, with words. Because Jenna always won with volume, with tears, with drama, with manipulation. But when faced with calm, professional, elevated communication, she had nothing. No defense, no counterattack, just quiet frustration and the need to Google words under her desk. Perfect. I think about her sometimes. I hope she's doing well in her new department. I hope she's learned something. I hope she treats people better. But mostly, I hope she expanded her vocabulary, because words are power. And sometimes, the pen really is mightier than the sword. Or in this case, mightier than the drama queen. Whew. Did this one give you that satisfying chill?